everyone! I'm Claris, I'm an indie author and poet, and welcome back to my channel. It's so great to see all of you again. I hope you have been reading well. So I thought for today's video I would talk a little bit about an upcoming YA fantasy short story collection I have coming out called Found. Found will be officially published on May 18th, 2026, with pre-orders available starting on May 4th. And I am very excited to share this with all of you. It has been a very interesting passion project in the making, for sure. But some of you might be noticing that, unlike a lot of the other books I have written in the past and published, this one is a little bit darker, a little bit more mysterious, a little bit more spooky in the woods encounters, types of fairy tale aesthetic things. Why did you write this, Claris? What was the inspiration behind it? And what made you decide to change up your writing style? Because I promise it's not just the subject matter that's darker, but I also decided to use a different tense. Second person. A reason I chose to change up the writing style so drastically for writing Found is because partially of what the media was that inspired it. There are two games by Ebihime that I played before writing this specific collection called It Gets So Lonely Here and The End of an Obsession. It Gets So Lonely Here and The End of an Obsession are both in second-person points of view. They are both visual novels that are very fairy tale inspired and also very dark. As in, you, the player, will die a lot. Spoiler alert. But I really enjoyed the writing style of how immersive they put the reader, or player in this case, into this fantasy world, this dark fantasy world filled with evil witches and fate being forced into ways that you, the player, might not necessarily want. And that was something I really wanted to experiment with when writing Found, especially when adapting all of the Grimm fairy tales and other fairy tales that I wrote short stories based on for this collection. Another source of major inspiration I had was with playing the game Little Goody Two Shoes. This is also another very dark fairy tale-like video game that I played at the time, where the main character, Elise, she is trying to make her wish come true, but you, the player, already know that it's going to come at a horrible price. The thing is, Elise, the player character, does not know this, and as you're controlling her and her actions throughout the game, you eventually come to a crossroads of whether you're going to achieve her wish at the great price that it's going to be priced for, or you give up on that dream, but it's in exchange for something else. In most cases, it's probably going to be a very, very pretty romance with one of the potential love interests in the game. I thought that playing with the fairy tale-like vibes of Little Goody Two Shoes, or looking at the darkness that was involved in these fairy tale environments, or seeing the potential bright sides / good endings, was something I also wanted to experiment with in my writing. Some of you may disagree with the idea of, oh, dark stories are going to be, really dark. How could anybody be potentially seeing any good side in all of this? But in all honesty, in my opinion, I think it's very hard to see and appreciate the good sides of life and how beautiful it can be without acknowledging that there is darkness. There will be bad things that happen in the world, unfortunately. If we could do it all our own way, if we had everything our own way, no bad things would be happening at all. Everything would be good. But would we also appreciate the goodness in our lives if everything was good? When I went into writing Found, I really wanted to focus on emphasizing the darkness, but also emphasizing the light and the happy resolutions. So many Grimm fairy tales often have this dark side. You have a boy getting killed by his stepmother and literally cannibalized in the juniper tree, for example. Or in Hansel and Gretel, you have the two titular characters nearly getting eaten alive by a witch, had it not been for the two of them somehow shoving her in the oven instead. But Without that darkness, the characters wouldn't have challenges to overcome. They wouldn't have obstacles that they had to beat in order to find the other side of the rainbow, the good ending, the amazing best ending, however you want to phrase it. And sometimes all of us do have to find and fight our way through difficult scenarios to find the happy endings. And I think without the struggle in the story, whether it be a fictional story or in our own lives, I believe that it would be very hard to appreciate the happy endings or happy next chapters we have in our lives. I will not deny that Found is probably one of the darkest stories I've ever written, one of the darkest books I've ever written, and that is saying something, considering that I wrote and published 3 murder mysteries, where people literally die in every book. But I will say that sometimes you might not be encountering somebody trying to eat you after they lured you to their gingerbread house, and you might not be somebody who was trapped in a tower for ages, waiting for their prince to save them. And you might also not be somebody who was hunted by the evil queen because you refused to kill Snow White. But all of us have our challenges to overcome. All of us have that darkness or that difficult spots in our lives we need to go through. I hope that these stories can inspire you to let you know that things are going to be okay. There will be a bright side at the other side of this. It might take a lot of searching. It might take some fighting, hopefully not actual physical fighting. That's not what I'm endorsing here. But I do want to know that happy endings do exist. It can be in as dark of a story as the grim fairy tales that have been passed on through generations. It could be through some part in your life, but happy endings do exist. And whether you have to find that happy ending or wait for it to happen, or maybe it's a bit of both, often it's both, I do hope that by reading Found, you will be inspired to look for that happy ending of yours and never stop believing in them no matter what. For those of you who aren't as interested in reading darker stories right now, I totally understand. The world can be a dark and dreary place for a lot of people right now, and I understand that if you want to escape into something like a cozy rom-com or a very cozy romantasy, or something that isn't nearly as dark as retellings of grim fairy tales, I totally get it. If that's what you need to do right now, then do that. But for those of you that want to read stories of darkness and navigating that darkness to come back to a better ending, a happier ending, or at least the next great step or a better step into a life that was better than before, then I really hope that reading Found can inspire you to continue to take those next steps forward to something good. Editor Claris here. As I'm editing this video right now, I recognize that there are a lot of dark stories that do talk about appreciating the light but not without experiencing the darkness. 2 movies came to mind at random for me, and one of them was the entire Saw franchise, and the other one was Legend, the 1985-1986 movie. If you have watched either of these movies, let me know in the comments below if you agree with this take or not. I'm very interested to know what you think of what it means to fight through the darkness to get to the light. Can we have happy endings about the story being dark? Or maybe there are different shades of darkness, which I think would make more sense. It doesn't always have to be completely doom and gloom first to reach that happy ending, especially depends on which audience you're writing for. Found, to remind you all, will be available for pre-order starting on May 4th, and it will be officially published on May 18th, 2026. I really hope that reading Found will inspire some of you readers, like how writing these stories kept inspiring me to continue persevering and moving forward. If you like this video, feel free to give it a like down below somewhere, and click that subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this. If you want to support me, feel free to pre-order Found when it's available for pre-order on May 4th. and also spread the word about this book to any other readers looking for fairy tale retellings and stories of perseverance and looking for a happy ending. Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!